Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to another episode of Life of Brian. Just wanted to talk briefly about another hobby of mine, which is um, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I've been doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu since 2013, 2012, something like that. So about 10 years or so. I got my black belt in 2021, and I don't really train as much as I would like to. When I first started, I literally went five days a week, sometimes even twice a day. I'm sure some of you guys, you've caught the BJJ bug, and find yourself kind of addicted to the chess, the mental aspect of jiu-jitsu, which is very appealing, which is a lot of fun, quite honestly. I've been there. Work, family, life, it's kind of eaten into my available free time. But I try to go maybe once a week or so to train. But as the title of the video states, what I think the biggest lie in jiu-jitsu, or specifically perhaps the biggest lie that you're told when you first start jiu-jitsu, is that jiu-jitsu is kind of like the great equalizer. It's not like boxing or wrestling or karate or taekwondo or whatever other martial arts there are that are out there. Jiu-jitsu is a great equalizer. Weak will prevail over the strong. Technique, can't say technique. Technique. Have you ever had that situation where you say a word over and over again and then it stops making sense and starts sounding like a fake word? Well, technique, right? Weird. Anyways, that technique will overcome strength and power and speed, and it's the old, Elio Gracie narrative where, he was fighting younger guys, much stronger guys, and kind of wearing them down over a period of time, no limit, everything goes, street fights, and as long as you know jiu-jitsu, or specifically Gracie jiu-jitsu, then power and strength and speed don't really matter too much. It's kind of knowing jiu-jitsu kind of just levels the playing field. So I'm here to tell you guys, again, as someone who's been doing jiu-jitsu for over 10 years, I'm a black belt, that is a load of crap. Power and strength and speed, specifically I think strength, is really the most important thing. And anyone who tells you otherwise is just, blowing smoke up your butt. I don't care if you're a white belt, you're a purple belt, you're a black belt, all things being equal, if your technique if your technical knowledge is pretty even, whoever's stronger is going to win. That's just the way it is, guys. And again, anyone who's telling you differently, like, oh no, all you do is, it's all about, being technical, and, technique overcomes blah blah blah. Again, that's not true. And I'll give you a good example, guys. So from the time I got my blue belt until I got my black belt, blue to black, I was only submitted in rolling and sparring twice. I didn't do competitions. Never been my thing. Never had the desire to. But I'm talking just like regular class sparring, rolling, live rolling sort of deal. From blue to black, I was only submitted, or I only tapped twice, I should say. And never as a blue belt, never as a brown belt, twice as a purple belt. And the one instance I remember being tapped as a purple belt is exactly kind of on point to today's video, which is the greatest lie that's told to you as a BJJ practitioner, which is, again, power and strength don't matter. So at the time, I was a 4-stripe purple, and I was rolling with another 4-stripe purple. I'd never rolled with them before. I'm about, my best day, 5'10", 170. he was probably 6'4", 6'3", um, gosh, 220 pounds, 215 pounds maybe. Big, strong, broad shoulder, could lift a tractor sort of deal. Anyways, we're rolling, and typically it's my style to kind of be a little bit more defensive, especially with someone I've never rolled with before, especially bigger guys. Kind of feeling it out, taking it slow, and picking my spots where I can to go on the attack. But in any situation, guy basically smashed through my guard, got me in ultimately into an arm bar, which I defended for I think all of about 10 seconds until he almost dislocated my arm, and I went ahead and tapped. And again, the reason I say that is, again, guy was a nice guy, no personal issues with him whatsoever, and I think actually he's pretty technical as well, which actually, looking back on it, at the time when I got tapped, it's just human nature. People say, oh, either you're losing you're never losing, you're learning, or you're winning, whatever the adage is. But at the time, I was kind of pissed. I was kind of frustrated. I was like, oh man, I got tapped. He's same rank as I am. I'm not as good. What can I do to beat him? And thinking back now, it occurs to me that there's not a damn thing I could have done to beat this guy. Again, this guy's 6'4", 225 pounds. I'm 5'10", 170 on my best day. And during the roll, and I'm not saying this just to make excuses or whatnot. During the roll, he was like 90% strength, brute strength, 10% technique. And again, the guy's technical. From what I saw from him rolling with other guys, he doesn't always use strength. But in my roll, it was definitely almost all strength. And like I said, he smashed through my guard. I did my typical armbar defense, which 99% of the time you're not going to get me to tap, even if you get me in that armbar position where one of the arms is exposed. But he basically just broke through my defenses using sheer strength, brute strength, and there was nothing I could do or would do to overcome that. Nothing. So for all you new BJJ practitioners out there, people starting your journey, if you ever find yourself kind of in a situation where you're rolling with someone maybe same rank, or even above you or perhaps below you, and you're finding yourself having trouble with them, or heck, even getting tapped. And again, I'm not saying this for you to just say, well, hey, this person's bigger, I'm just gonna roll over the fetal position. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, again, there's this narrative, and I've been at a lot of different academies. I've been at basically academies that were very competition driven. I've been at academies that were very kind of the lineage of Gracie Academy, where everything's cooperative learning, everything's very easygoing, rolling's pretty soft, everyone's nice and friendly, no one gets hurt, no one goes hard. But even in those situations, even in those environments, there are no exceptions to this rule, guys. Strength and power and speed matter, and they will overcome excellent technique. It'll overcome someone who's very technical. Ryan Young, I think is his name, Ryan Young. He's a black belt under Dave Kama, I believe, Hickson Gracie black belt, and he has this formula where it's something like technique and strength, and if it's certain amount of strength over the technique of the other person, then there's no way you're going to win. But if it's somewhat even and your technique is significantly more than the other person's strength, it's some sort of equation as. But I completely agree with that. Again, if you're all things being equal, if you guys have the same technical knowledge, technical skills, but the other person is stronger, faster, younger, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose basically every single time. And it has nothing to do with your lack of ability, your lack of anything. It's just you're going to lose. And kind of as a closing point, guys, something I thought of the other day is, I think some schools, some academies, it might be a good idea to kind of split up your, at least when it comes to rolling or sparring, there should be, a lot of academies have competition classes. Okay, I get that, but even during like regular classes, right? Fundamentals, advanced, whatever. There's going to be sparring. There's going to be some extent of rolling in the class, right? And when you're rolling, you could be rolling with a guy who's like a hobbyist, someone like myself who's never competed, have no desire to compete. Maybe trains 2-3 times a week, maybe once a week. You're just there to exercise, have fun, be with friends. But you have other guys who are cross training, weightlifting, doing supplements, doing other things, training 6 times a day, and they're like completely, just all they do is jiu-jitsu, and you look at them and you can totally see the difference. And I compare it to, like, if you can imagine going against LeBron James, right, or Kevin Durant, or an NBA player, versus some guy who just goes to the local YMCA and plays basketball, once a week or twice a month. You're going to get destroyed. You're going to get owned. And I think sometimes BJJ academies, BJJ professors lose sight of the fact that there's this great discrepancy, not only in strength and power and youth, but also in kind of what are you trying to get from being in jiu-jitsu, right? I think most people are just kind of the hobbyists. They do it for fun. It's a way to, relieve stress, make friends, stay healthy, that sort of deal. But there's also that very strong contingent that's there to compete, and do everything, with their body, mentally, psychologically, everything, training regimen, eating, diet, to go out there, seek and destroy, get medals. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you put that person with the hobbyist, that hobbyist is going to lose and get destroyed, maybe even get injured. And I think for young people early in their journey, I should say, which is really the point of this video, who maybe don't understand that, who kind of are still buying into that lie, which is, hey, as long as I have technical knowledge and as long as I have technique, that will overcome strength and power and speed and youth. That's not true, guys. So I think maybe academies might be better suited if sparring was somehow categorized, if you will, like hobbyists, the non-competitors versus the competitors. Because again, it's like taking someone who's plays basketball at their local YMCA or gym and putting them against an NBA player. It's not gonna be fun really for either person. Now, of course, you can play down to the competition. Like if I'm rolling with a white belt, obviously, I'm going to not roll very hard or try to strangle them. I'm gonna let them work and do their moves. I might work defensively on positions. But if you're really trying to have an equal role where both parties are trying to be offensive, use their attacks, try to submit the other person, which ultimately should be the goal, I think, of any role, unless it's like situational sparring or that sort of deal. I get that too. You're just never going to feel that. You're never going to get that if you're going against someone who is that competitor, that person who is 100% focused and driven on competing, and maybe not even competing, actually, guys. It could be someone who's just not a competitor, but again, that 6'4", 200-pound purple belt who destroyed me, who no matter what I did, they're going to get that submission, because again, just you can't do much with strength. Mikey Musumeci, I'm sure I'm butchering his name. You see those guys, but it's few and far between, where they're going into opens and they're going against super heavyweights, and even rarely they're winning. Most of the time they're losing as well. They're getting smashed, but you're like, oh my God, it's amazing that they can even try to compete or, be in there without getting smashed in the first 30 seconds. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Again, just kind of my thoughts on strength and power and youth, specifically strength. I think is something that cannot be overcome. And as long as you acknowledge that and you're okay with that, and hey, this guy's just stronger than me, I'm gonna work on being defensive, or if I can last longer than I did last time, that's a victory. Hey, that is a victory. Guys, everyone's has a different journey in jiu-jitsu. Everyone has a different goal. But thought I'd just share my thoughts on that. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to support the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.